Thank you for joining me on Tennis Volley Talk, episode 26 with Brian Danielson. Today, what I'm going to be doing is doing an over-the-phone interview with one of going back to my tennis back in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And this guy's really kind of known for Mr. Tennis in Tulsa. He ran different tournaments over the years through Tulsa, through one of the courts, La Fortune Park in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But he is very, how he grew up and what he was doing and how he got started with tennis and everything like that. So what I'm going to be doing, it's over the phone interview, and what I'll be doing is then I will be then letting you listen to it, and then I'll pause it, let you know where I was in my tennis career back then, and kind of let you know a little bit more about that aspect of things too. So without further ado, let's get to that interview, and we'll take it from there.
Well, thank you for joining me back on Tennis Volley Talk. So today, who I have with me here is really actually kind of going back to my roots back in Tulsa. I've told you that before, but I have various many people that I know back in Tulsa. And one of the guys I have on with me today is Mr. Frank Ward. Really, he's kind of known maybe for Mr. Tennis in Tulsa in a way, because he grew up with the sport many years, and so we'll get into it here. But Frank, thank you for being with me on Tennis Volley Talk today.
Yeah, it's fun to talk with you. I'm Frank Ward, and did you want me to start in with any information, or do you want to go with your questions?
Well, I'll just kind of go, kind of lead with some questions, and kind of are you actually then grew up in Oklahoma, or did you move to Oklahoma at the time back in the day to that when you started with them, coming whenever you moved to Tulsa, or did you grow up in Oklahoma?
Well, for background, I'm a graduate of Tulsa Central, University of Oklahoma for 2 years, where I was deemed an alternate for the U.S. Air Force Academy as an alternate. The regulars, the Air Force Academy was just open, all the regulars went. So the alternates, like myself, were given an option of going into the Air Force, what they call the pilot training, going to the cadet program. So I went into Air Force pilot training as an alternate for going to the Air Force Academy. Enjoyed the Air Force very much. They did a lot for me. I recommend everybody getting into the military at some point. Came out, finished my degree, and started at Holland Hall School. For those that don't know, Tulsa Holland Hall is a college preparatory school, doing a great job then. I started there on January 1st, 1960, and remained there for 30 years. It's a great school. They continue to do a great job.
And is that when you kind of got into tennis, or did you kind of, got you going into tennis anyway?
At Holland Hall, I was the first athletic director, and they were short of coaches, so I coached football. I was basketball coach for all of those years, and also coached tennis, and therefore started playing tennis. I played a little in high school, not much, because baseball was and is my main sport. But I did start tennis, and it evolved into what has developed today. Now, because I was at Holland Hall coaching tennis in 1967 for the Tulsa World Open, the director that was supposed to move in here from St. Louis and direct the Tulsa World Open decided he could not make it. The Area Tennis Association asked me to then fill in and direct my first Tulsa World Open in 1967.
So yeah, with that, just being being a teacher that just needed to fill in and start playing tennis. That's how he got started in playing tennis. He didn't used to, he didn't play tennis that much, but once he got into it and started then learning the game, and that kind of where he got his passion from too, with that, and then plus being thrust upon being able to run a whole tournament for back then. And back in the early 70s, or back in the 60s into the 70s, tennis was getting very popular back then, where you could not hardly get a court any place wherever you wanted to play.
And I directed that tournament and many others for the next 30 years.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing, Bill. And so you're kind of thrown into the fire as trying to get all the names and all the brackets together and all the names A, B, C, or whatever it was back then, in those tournaments. I remember playing in the Tulsa World Tournament too, back in the early 70s, but you started even before then. So that was even before La Fortune opened up. So you probably were running a lot of the tournaments through Tracy Park and kind of all over in that area to kind of have the overflow, because they were so big back then. I remember hundreds of guys that played back then.
Yeah, my first Tulsa World Open had an entry of right at 700. It grew then to consistently 900, and later on the Tulsa Tribune, the August tournament was the first one to go over 1,000, so we needed a lot of tennis courts.
Oh my gosh, yes. A lot of high school courts that were used, I'm sure, all over.
Well, we used courts as far away as Sapulpa.
Oh my goodness.
Community just west of here. We had to, because we had so many matches. The draws were, many of them were 128 draws in the juniors, and all the adults were full 64s. And along the way, when we first started out, the adults played by age division.
Oh, okay.
Age division. And quickly found out that age division tennis was inequitable tennis, because the guys in the same age, some of them had played college tennis and were really good, and others were pretty not as good. Therefore, the seeded players, and we did full seeding on all of our tournaments, the seeded players, particularly the number one seed, always won. And in the case of a really good player like Roger Clark, for instance, as he came through the adults, I realized that he was winning every time he entered, and I started checking to see what the awards were for a particular tournament, figuring these same players were going to win again, and trying to select different awards for them. Very quickly, they turned trophies, which just sat there, trophies or plaques, and they wanted merchandise or T-shirts or so forth. And so Tulsa then, our Tulsa tournaments for the adults, we changed over to what was called the ABC. And we were the first in the country to change over to the ABCs, which later on then became today's NTRP, which is what the adults play now.
That's what I grew up with, was the divisions of A, B, or open A, B, and C players for the tournaments back then when I was playing in the 70s. And then later on, like you said, it became the NTRP ratings for everybody in what their rating was as far as how they played and what their consistency is. And they give you a number for how and what you do as far as consistency with your playing, as far as if you're, a 4-0 or a 3-5, not getting the ball over the net, but being consistent, and then being more consistent with being a 4-0 player and all that. So that's kind of how that started, and being the first one in the country to start doing that. Smart idea, I think it was back then.
The age division events still continue. For instance, the senior games are still age division.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I mean, and that's kind B were kind of the lower ones, and then the C's were the ones that were just kind of beginning out in tennis, which still is nice.
And what developed then, you had, joyfully for me as a director, you had different winners every event, every tournament.
Oh, yeah.
More difficult to determine who was going to win the A's or the B's or the C's. And the players were very good at that time about adjusting to the play-in level where they belong. They did an excellent job.
Oh, sure, absolutely they did, and stuff. But yeah, I remember even playing singles and doubles back then too. My doubles partner and I ended up playing a couple of guys at Tracy Park. One of them, and it was a hot 100-degree day, and it was like no shade whatsoever. And sometimes you just kind of go crazy with trying to find shade because it's so hot there in the summer.
And nowadays, by contrast, for instance, the last 2 Tuesdays, my group of 30 to 40 seniors that are supposed to be played outdoors, we instead arranged indoor courts. We have limited indoor courts in Tulsa, but we have, fortunately, 6 at the main club, and we don't play outdoors when it's 100 degrees.
Oh, gosh, no. That's crazy. I mean, that can get to you.
Another factor that developed very naturally as I'm running that first Tulsa World Open tournament with all these matches, we're using a ton of tennis balls.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And when the match was over, the players would turn in their used tennis balls. Also, Tulsa was the first time to go from giving 2 balls per match to giving the entire can, giving 3 balls to the players for every match.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I got quite a bit of criticism around the state of Oklahoma from the other tournament directors who were still giving 2 because of expense reasons. But in Tulsa, since the Tulsa Area Tennis Association was running the tournaments, we were not interested in any kind of a profit, so the expenses were not a problem.
Oh, sure.
But back to the tennis balls, as these balls came in, I'd be sitting there with boxes of used tennis balls.
Oh, yeah.
Right away, immediately, I started giving them to the school coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Teaching baskets.
Oh,
the coaches were all playing in the tournaments, or their kids were.
Oh, sure.
And so the tennis association started giving away the tennis balls, which we do to this day.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Yeah, that is just, and that's really a great aspect of returning back to the game of tennis too, to be able to do that.
Yeah, and in most tennis tournaments, most any tennis tournaments nowadays, they just give you the 2 balls because it is the cost thing that's involved with that. But that was so amazing, though, that he was able to give the full 3 balls to the players back then to be able to play with all 3 of them. It makes it a lot easier. You don't have to run around as much to get the other ball that's drifted over 2 courts over or whatever, have to get the other people to throw you the ball and all that. But still, that was amazing to have that first step to give away all 3 balls at a tournament for you to play it with.
And what finally developed this association with the schools, and I probably ought to mail you our newsletter that show you the 47 schools in Oklahoma. Oka City, Del City, North Bartlesville, to the east, Wagner, South, Muskogee, a big rectangle of schools in Oklahoma, where we are providing their tennis balls and always, thanks to Head Pin, rackets.
Oh, yeah.
Have never, ever charged our tennis association, either the school or the coach, for a tennis racket. We give them to the coach for the kids.
Oh, sure.
And in the case of the Okmulgee program, we also give rackets to the adults, to the moms and dads who are playing with their kids at night, cooler under the lights.
Oh, sure.
And that is really the realm of being able to give back to tennis. Now, you YouTubers, you're watching this, and I do appreciate that. Please go to my channel, subscribe. leave comments of what you might want me to talk about, a little bit more stuff. And then also here in this broadcast, you're going to see the racket of the day. Now, this is for you podcasters out there that want to see what I'm talking about. You can always go to my tennis YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, subscribe. Also, if you want to, like I said, if you want to see what I'm talking about on the podcast, so you can go and look at the racket of the day that I do have. So you YouTubers, subscribe, like, comment. You podcasters also do the same thing.
So in Okmulgee alone, we've probably given a little over 100 rackets so far.
Oh my, that's just pure
I'm not hearing you. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you, yes.
I can't hear you.
You should.
The phone is cut out. I can't hear you.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, you hear me now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now. Okay, all that I just said, were you able to hear me?
Yes, I was.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good way to get back to tennis and getting the younger kids now back interested in tennis. Again, back like we had in the 70s when everything was so booming back in the 70s and stuff. And I myself, I grew up at Hale, and I grew up with the Hale tennis courts, were white cement with yellow lines and the chain link net for the net, chain link fence for the net. So that's where I grew up playing my formal tennis years too. And then gradually went over to Hicks Park and stuff like that and played on those courts too. And even you may know and remember back in that day when I was playing, you may remember one of the guys that was always a good player, Dick Pinkowski.
Excellent player, and since you mentioned Hale,
Yeah.
I and our tennis association, we took down at Hale High School, working with the athletic director at the time. In fact, I have a picture right here on my ping pong table of their athletic director. We took down those wire nets, put up regular nets, and got the courts back in better shape. And at Hicks Park, those 6 courts over there, they were part of the 22-court complex here in Tulsa that we got resurfaced, not rebuilt, but just the surfacing. Redid the top surface.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And I remember many matches at nighttime. During the time I played back when I was young. The heat didn't bother me back then too much, but played in morning, noon, and night, and many night matches, and watching Dick Pinkowski play some of the other guys too. And he was an animal. He got everything back then. Is Dick Pinkowski still around?
I have not heard from him in many years. I don't know if he's playing. I don't even know where he is. He has not been active in Tulsa that I know of.
Oh, I see. Okay. Because he was a heck of a player back then.
Yeah, he was an excellent player.
Got everything back and ran everything down. So, yeah, I remember watching him with awe and going, God, I wish I had some of that game.
Yeah, that is right. One of the premier players back whenever I was playing, and he was always in the A division and always kept in semifinals, finals. He was a very good player back then, and got everything back. But with that too, and being able, because that's back in early 70s I think that's whenever Hale was then resurfaced, and with cloth nets then instead of the chain link fence, and they resurfaced it with the regular colored courts, and they just resurfaced over the white cement courts, probably is what they did. If you dug down underneath where the asphalt is now, you'd probably still find the old white cement tennis court where Hale courts used to be. And then with the resurfacing way back, now Hicks Park, 6 courts, nice little park that you could play at. It has lights, but now at Hicks Park today, the courts are a little bit run down, kind of like where people used to play and where it used to be big, and people were crowded all the time during the night time at Hicks Park. one of the places that I used to play, but I played all over Tulsa in all over different courts, all over around Tulsa area.
And stuff. But yeah, no, that was just amazing in itself. To have the knowledge and being able to grow up and having that opportunity to show the community tennis of what you've done and accomplished through the years of your playing tennis career too, and becoming a coach, and then how it got thrust upon you to run the tournaments and stuff like that. Here in Minnesota, there's a local tournament that they have run for 52 years, 52nd year that they're going to be running the summer tournament in Elk River, a little small town outside of the Twin Cities here, which is always a good tournament to play in too. And that's really a fun thing to do. They got mixed doubles on Friday, and then Saturday is singles, and Sunday is doubles. So they make it a whole weekend event.
Since you mentioned the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, I told you on a previous phone call, got to compliment the folks at the University of Minnesota. They put on several years ago a great senior games event. My age division happened to play all of our matches indoors.
Okay.
They're a great center. I think they have both tennis courts and a swimming pool in the same center. In fact, the color of their courts, which is the school's off-red color, my partner and I found out that we could see the ball better on that color. So when I got back to Tulsa, I had my court redone that same color, which it remains today.
Oh my gosh. And that must be so good to just wake up and go, oh, I guess I'm just going to practice on my tennis court today.
That's right.
Oh, that'd be so fun. I actually had one opportunity to be able to play with some guy that had a tennis court of his own in his house, but it was one time only. But it was still fun to kind of go over there and play and everything too. Now, if you had the opportunity ever to play on grass though too?
I have not played on grass.
Oh, okay. There is one place here in Iowa that is one tennis court that the guy made out in the middle of a cornfield on a farm, and he went to Wimbledon and saw that, and he came back and built one grass tennis court, and it's the Iowa Tennis Hall of Fame club, and that's and actually pros have been through there, Madison Keys and everything, and they've done events at that grass tennis court, and I played on those grass tennis courts. It was really fun too. Fun surface to try to play on too. But yeah, it was a good experience to be able to play and have that experience on grass. But yeah, with that, it's just amazing in itself. So when did actually LaFortune actually open? Back like 71, 72, something like that.
Yes, back in the 70s.
70s, yeah. And wasn't it Charlie Cunningham that was kind of the director at that time? Wasn't it?
Yeah, there's two LaFortunes. The original LaFortune, the courts that were built, the courts were built far too close to each other. So if you were playing doubles, you could easily run into the doubles player on the court next to you.
Oh, that's not good at all.
So, therefore, at the time, Fred Perry was a county commissioner here, and through his efforts and the efforts of all of us on fundraising, the original LaFortune courts were torn up down to the dirt, and the new courts were completely rebuilt with the correct spacing between courts. And since that time, more courts have been added, and of course now they have a better building with 3 indoor courts.
Yeah, when LaFortune Park started out, it was like maybe 5, 6 courts, 7, 8, 9 court, something like that. But yeah, they were really small spaced together and everything like that. And they had a little small building, a little cement brick small building that was the clubhouse that you went and you got in there, put your reservation down to play on any of the courts back then. But yeah, now since then, they've really built that facility up, and it's really turned into a very, very nice tennis facility for the Midwest or in the South, in Oklahoma, and in Tulsa itself, one of the better facilities in the Missouri Valley Conference in that area.
With more indoor courts planned.
Oh my, that is so. And I really like the fact that at La Fortune that they have the little triangle fence that you can kind of walk into and be able to watch two courts being played, and yet you're out of the way, and you still have the fence between you, but you can still watch the tennis being played better instead of peering through the little window of the windscreens there. Really, innovation.
You have to hand it to the La Fortune family, which continues now with Bob La Fortune, who's one of our sponsors of our tennis association for the entire park. In addition to the tennis, the park serves many players on multiple ball diamonds, and of course has both the 18-hole golf course and the par 3 golf course. So it's quite a facility that the La Fortune family left for the community.
Oh yeah.
And that was built up, and they've always had the tennis courts, and then plus the golf course, and then the par 3 golf course that you could play. Makes it a little bit easier for the day for the golfers out there. They don't want to be out there for 5 hours playing a full 18 holes on a regular golf course. But yeah, with that, it is just a big, huge facility of itself in that area in Tulsa with that. And then, like I said, you YouTubers, you're watching this, be sure and subscribe and like the channel Tennis Volley Talk on YouTube. And then for you podcasters, you'll be seeing the racket of the day coming up pretty soon. And for you podcasters, be sure and go, if you want to see the racket of the day, then you can go take a look at it and subscribe and, with that. So like and subscribe, leave comments, what you might have me or see me do.
And it's such a reasonable cost to go play at that. Most of the courts here, because it's indoors during the winter and everything, are exorbitant prices. So it's kind of rough in that respect. But also with that, then with La Fortune and everything, to be able to have that kind of a facility that has grown is just unbelievable. How nice and what awards that La Fortune Park has won for tennis over the years too, from Missouri Valley.
One reason it would be good to interview Melissa McCorkle and maybe have Peter by her side, because they're now doing such a good job over there. They can give you a lot more information than I can.
Oh, sure, I'm sure. So, but yeah, no, that is just amazing in itself. With what you've been able to do with tennis and giving back to the community with tennis and letting people know that it's still out there and it's still popular with people playing to this very day.
Well, what you just said deals with my motivation. My motivation then and today is the great numbers of fine people I'm dealing with.
Oh, sure.
These tennis players that I deal with are first-class people doing everything right. It's a pleasure to work with them, and they in turn are out there in their respective fields doing good also. So it's pretty inspirational working with this good group of tennis players. I thank you for your call.
Oh yeah.
Perhaps this has been some good to you,
and
appreciate it, and make these other calls, particularly to Collen Robertson.
Oh, I definitely will do that, and then that could lead into some other tennis pro, maybe. Who knows?
Okay, thank you for your call.
Thank you very much, Frank Wood, and you enjoy the rest of the day.
Amen. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Well, that was the interview with Frank Ward, and later on that will be showing up on YouTube, my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and then we'll take it from there, and I'll pause it and kind of let you know where I was in my tennis career back then too. So thank you for listening, and everybody have a good day.
And that was it with that interview. And I hope you liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it because it kind of brings me back to my roots. But now for you podcasters, if you want to see what I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be showing the racket of the day here. I don't have a brand name on this racket, but this racket is an open throat racket and with the brass screw right here. A very old racket. It's probably in about the 30s is when this racket was around and being played with in the early 30s to mid 40s. Maybe someone played with it because with the open throat and then with the gut strings. This is either cow gut or cat gut, either one. But this racket here does not have a manufacturer name on it. It doesn't have any writing on it or anything like that I can see. It does not have any symbol on but it's a cork or the wood and the handle wrapped around it there. But it doesn't have any identifying marks as far as what the manufacturer was. But this racket is then back in the like early 30s that people played with this kind of racket back then in the day. So for you podcasters, like I said, if you want to see this racket, what I'm talking about right now, then you can go to my YouTube Tennis Volley Talk and leave a comment. Let me know if you like the racket of the day. I really like showing my racket collection and letting you know a little bit more about the rackets that past people played with back in the day. Always a fun thing to do for me to show some of the rackets that I have. And then you YouTubers, you see this already. And so, yeah, leave me a comment, like, subscribe. And this is for you podcasters to subscribe to the channel also. With that, but that is another thing that I like doing too. So anybody, you YouTubers and you podcasters, be sure and subscribe and like my channel. And then with the weather out there getting nice and hot and toasty, and then next weekend, I will be in a tennis tournament next weekend. So next week I will be doing another interview, hopefully with another Tulsa person talking about the Tulsa Tennis Club, hopefully one of the oldest tennis clubs in Tulsa. So everybody have a good week out there playing tennis, and enjoy the week, and have a very good day. And thank you very much again for listening to my tennis volley talk on my YouTube. Have a good day, everybody, and a good week.